Happy Tuesday, Move Me Poetry community. And for today's lesson, we are going to deal with the Sestina. It's a complicated poem, going to be pretty long, but I think you all are up for a good summer challenge. All right, a little bit of history. It's a 12th century French form, known as actually kind of a competitive, and was actually usually had music. The troubadours would actually compete to see who had the best wit, most complex form, and things like that. I don't know, maybe the first kind of slam poetry. But it has an interesting history, and its form and stuff has tweaked a little bit, but basically it is centered around using the same 6 end words throughout the whole poem. You'll have 6 stanzas and an envoy. So it's a total of 39 lines, but the end words are all the same. Okay. Now there is an open meter aspect for the lines. More traditionally is ionic pentameter, but you can do a solid just syllable count. I just suggest that you kind of keep it pretty close. I don't know if you've never written one of these, if I'd worry too much about making sure every line is the same rhythm or same meter length or syllable count, because it's a challenge. I've written, I think, 4 of these, and I'll share an example in the lesson tweet, not here, because it's actually kind of a long poem. All right, for the 6 words, I tend to just use the random word generator site, and it's actually randomwordgenerator.com. You can choose you can do all nouns, things like that. You can just generate as many times until you feel comfortable with the 6 words. Or a good way is to choose a theme or think about a topic. Okay, and choose 6 words that are connected with that. That might help in planning out the idea with that. Now, punctuation plays a big role in this in regards to taking a pause and things like that. Do not feel like every line has to be a sentence. Okay, you can carry through. We've had our lessons on punctuation, pauses, and stuff like that a couple of weeks ago. So don't feel though that every line has to be a sentence. Okay. Let the punctuation, flow like you want it to. Okay. Then your poetic elements like similes, metaphors, irony, things like that. Since it's a lengthy poem, using and, infusing these helps make the poem move along, and doesn't feel so like prose to a degree. All right, so let's get into the construct of this poem. All right, stanza 1. I have an example here, and you can hit pause here. You can actually look this up and like copy and paste the form too. But I just chose 6 random words. Okay, and then also label them A, B, C, D, E, F, so we can pay attention a little bit to the form. There is actually kind of a pattern on how the end word or the lines change. Okay, so what you'll see in stanza 2, that the last line of a stanza jumps all the way to the top. Okay, then the second to last jumps in between the A and B. Okay, and then D will jump, or that 4th line will jump into that space. And then, so you'll see in stanza 2 that the C word, lost, is now going to be at the end. And then each stanza just rotates in that case. Last line to the top, second to last, it technically goes into the 3rd. And then the line 4 kind of, in a crazy sense, kind of stays, but jumps into up 1. All right. Okay, so there is stanza 2. You'll see F there, A, E falls in, okay, and then D, and then C becomes the last of that. All right, and then you'll see in stanza 3 that C is going to then be at the top. All right, so there is actually a rhythm to this. All right, but again, for each stanza, go ahead and hit pause if you want to copy, but I do suggest that you just actually Google it. Every site will have kind of a template or talk about it. They all kind of have different ways of showing it. I kind of like this kind of form here. I got this idea from the Writer's Digest site. I just like the visual aspect that they used. Okay, so stanza 4, you'll see then E jumped up. Okay, stanza 5. And then finally stanza 6. Okay, now the envoy has a couple of options. The hard rule actually is just that in the last 3 lines that you have all 6 words. You have 3 of them at the end and then 3 of them kind of in the middle. In modern times, this is kind of the traditional end situation. So hug or word A is kind of in the middle. Now, it does not have to have a comma. I just kind of have a comma just to kind of place that idea that it's set in the middle, and then word B, cold, is at the end. All right. Now, if you're more traditional, in the 12th century when this originated, this was the order that was common. Okay. So in this case, the end word and the beginning word and kind of the last line, which is kind of cool. So the first word, A, hug, is in the middle of the last line, and then you end with trust, the F word, or the last word there. So that's kind of cool. I had never thought of that. I've not used this type of ending in my styles. Okay, so the Sestina is based off of 6 end words that move within the stanza. You want to have a consistent line length or syllable count, or if you're really into a more metered approach, I just suggest, if you've never written this, just kind of have your lines consistent. It is a challenge. And then again, I suggest, copy down one of the forms if you Google this poetic form, because every site that you might come across is going to have kind of a way for you to copy the form down so that you can fill that in. Then again, choose your 6 words. It can be based off of a theme that you're thinking about. Okay, maybe it's a summer day, or okay, if you like a real challenge, use the random word generator and just go with the 6 words that are given to you. It's a challenge, but it's fun. This is one of those cases that this poetic form will stretch your writing skills, stretch your thinking, and don't worry about trying to get it done on a Tuesday. All right, this is one of those cases that I'll be looking for your guys' awesome works throughout the week. And again, I have an example that will be linked in the tweet. Okay, because it is a lengthy poem. I don't want to take up too much of your time. All right, have an awesome Tuesday.